In the winter of 1959, the Soviet Union's Ural Mountains were one of the most hostile environments on the planet. Crossing them required precision, endurance, and no room for error. Igor Dyatlov and his team of 9 hikers were prepared for this reality. They were not amateurs, they were highly trained survivalists, certified to navigate extreme, deep-freeze wilderness. Their objective was to traverse a desolate region that local indigenous groups referred to as the Mountain of the Dead. It was a route where temperatures regularly fell below -30 degrees Celsius. The team failed to return on schedule. When the military launched a search and rescue operation weeks later, they found the expedition's heavy canvas tent abandoned on a snowy slope. This campsite diagram highlights the first anomaly. The tent's heavy canvas was slashed wide open from the inside. Right next to the tear, the team's winter coats, boots, cameras, and food supplies were left perfectly arranged. Survival experts understand that abandoning thick protective layers in -30-degree weather guarantees death by hypothermia. Highly trained hikers would only exit into a blizzard if whatever was inside that tent was an immediate, lethal threat. Searchers found a set of 9 footprints leading down the slope, away from the destroyed tent. The impressions in the deep snow clearly showed that the hikers were running into the night wearing only socks or completely bare feet. The trail led to a tree line about a mile. There, investigators found the first bodies. The hikers had attempted to build a small makeshift fire under a large pine tree before eventually freezing to death. A second cluster of bodies was discovered spaced out along the incline leading back up the mountain. They were frozen solid in crawling positions, indicating a final attempt to return to the campsite. It took 2 more months of digging through deep snow to locate the final 4 members of the team buried in a ravine. The physical condition of these bodies completely changed the nature of the investigation. This medical schematic isolates a core contradiction. The hikers suffered crushed ribs and fractured skulls, yet had almost no external cuts. Autopsy reports noted even stranger outliers. Some were missing eyes or tongues, and testing detected high-level radiation on their clothing. Internal crushing, localized radiation, and extreme hypothermia are rarely found in a single event. This combination of evidence does not fit the profile of a standard weather tragedy, leaving investigators with a set of conflicting forensic data. The official Soviet response was swift. The lead investigator concluded the deaths were caused by an unknown powerful force. The government then closed the case, classified the files, and sealed off the mountain pass for years. This rapid lockdown suggests a specific possibility. The hikers inadvertently walked into a classified military weapons test. A weapons failure accounts for the radiation and explains why the military would quarantine the area. Decades later, scientists applying modern weather data and computer modeling proposed a different mechanism, the slab avalanche. In this cross-section, we see how a slab avalanche operates. A rigid block of ice snaps loose, sliding down like a solid brick to slam into the tent. This blunt force impact crushes ribs and cracks skulls without piercing skin, explaining the panicked slash outward. Both theories solve half the problem. The slab avalanche maps to the physical trauma, but cannot account for the state secrecy. The weapons theory provides a motive for the cover-up, but lacks direct physical proof of munitions at the site. The modern avalanche simulation is scientifically sound, but it does not address the radioactive residue on the clothing or the missing soft tissues on the victims in the ravine. The institutional behavior also contradicts the avalanche model. States typically do not classify autopsy files and permanently quarantine mountain ranges because of a snowslide. Over 65 years later, despite supercomputer modeling and exhaustive reinvestigations, there is still not a single theory that accounts for every data point recorded at the site. The legacy of Dyatlov Pass sits at the intersection of extreme wilderness and institutional secrecy. The incident remains unexplained because when a state intervenes to hide an investigation's progress, they compromise the integrity of the facts. We are left with a case where the remaining data is too sparse to support a single conclusion, and the evidence that could have provided it